it seems like a Hail Mary to try to like win some more approval back from the American people. Like there's a world where conceptually what you're saying is true, but as applied here is just not even remotely the case.
Trump even said today in the briefing that he had is they have been trying to do this for the past 5 days, but weather wasn't permitting. So they've known that they were going to do this exact same thing. They could have talked to Congress.
Yeah, I mean, this would be important to be like, hey, like, why didn't you talk to Congress? But I think we put a lot of importance in being the president, and I think the president should be able to make these kinds of military decisions when it comes to these things. I don't think it's the craziest thing in the world for the United States to do what Donald Trump did. I mean,
it is
Obama
though.
killed how many people with drones, and we didn't consult Congress with every single.
But it was
person
in a theater. It was in a theater where we had the authorization for the use of military force across the Middle East to fight terrorism. Like we had the president
approved of it.
Yes, the UAMF. Yeah, there was broad authority for the president. That's why they never challenged him on his authority to do it. They just will complain about it afterwards, but he had the authority to do that. Biden did. Trump did.
Well, I mean, Donald Trump has the authority to do what he did.
I don't think the UAMF applied to South America. I think the UAMF specifically called out.
I don't think it does either, but I definitely do think that the president has the ability to take military action within a certain time period.
The president of the United States has the authority to kidnap foreign leaders if drugs are being exported from their country and ours.
Do you think that the president of the United States has the authority to engage in limited military interaction?
For sure, even unapproved by Congress.
And do you think the United States has the ability to engage in law enforcement across like international lines?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think the DEA, for example, could go to another country where somebody ran away to extradite someone, to take them into custody and extradite them?
No. And that's not what extradition is. Extradition is the other country doing it. And if you did that, you get killed. There's no way. That's why those are like special ops, like black site missions. If you're going into another country to grab somebody, yeah, you can't do that.
Well, real quick, how do you feel about like the Mossad going into like Argentina and other countries and just basically taking them and just like bringing them back to Israel for trial after the crimes of the Holocaust?
Were these like kidnappings, or I mean, if they did it, it was my guess is
they basically were.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the Mossad does stuff like that, like assassinations of other leaders and shit, where they would be like contraindicated by international law and everything. But I think they do that, right? Yeah. Are you? But I'm guessing that's a boring answer. I'm describing it. You're asking me like, is it morally acceptable? I think it's a little bit more difficult to evaluate Israel's position there because the threat to their country is greater than any threat to America, and their status as an existing country and as a only country for Jewish people is like a little bit more peculiar or special. Like if the United States was legitimately being threatened by like an enemy and it was like represented a dire real threat to the United States, then like I said before, I think we want a swift and vigorous executive that can do something. I wouldn't necessarily be as opposed to it. That's why I'm saying on like the broadest, most abstract level, I don't disagree with you, but as applied to these circumstances, not even close. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of agree with the reason, or not the reasons he did it, but I agree with what he's doing, right? Obviously to secure Venezuela, secure their natural resources for the United States. I mean, I agree with these sorts of things, especially when it's a hostile regime. In general, I would be in favor of turning nearby hostile regimes
so if we just start invading every country in South America, if we do Colombia next, Cuba next, you'd be okay with all of that, deposing, kidnapping all of those leaders, collecting them like Pokemon cards, and just stashing them in U.S. prisons while we install our own regimes there?
Well, no, the best possible route, right, to consider that these people, hey, all of these countries could potentially be enemies if we do it the wrong way, right? To go about it in an intelligent way, to basically do regime change to the ones who are hostile and support the ones who are friendly.
Intelligent way implies like soft power things, not kidnapping foreign leaders of sovereign countries.
I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think an intelligent way, showing overwhelming force in a situation, could definitely deter other hostile players in the area from being hostile, right?
I disagree. I think what it does is I think it creates a new set of rules, and it puts everybody a little bit more on notice in a really bad way. Like I don't know where you're still in this. Hopefully you're not crazy or whatever. But like there are some people who think that like Charlie Kirk was assassinated by, I've heard from the Russians to the Mossad to the French to everything else. I'm sure you've heard these conspiracy theories, right?
He was obviously assassinated by the Jews, right?
True, yeah. But like this is a thing where like on its face it's so ridiculous of a theory because other countries like it would not be staging assassinations like the United States of America, especially on a U.S. national. This would just be so crazy for so many different, because now everybody would be like, oh shit, like I don't know if the United States is about to start killing my people. But now like if you're a U.S. president, do you have to be careful, like, the countries you're going to? Like, could people just start fucking kidnapping you? Or, like, are world leaders now going to be wondering, like, am I safe to travel to the United States? Or can I go to countries that are out? Like, that just gets really weird. You're creating this really hostile environment that is going to make everybody less trustworthy of each other, and it's going to hurt towards any type of international coalition building. It's just really bad to rewrite international rules like this. This is my same thing with, like, Russia invading Ukraine and taking territories. Like, you're not supposed to do this type of stuff anymore.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's problems with it. Obviously, the critique that Putin levied at Trump being like, hey, like, you can't just invade a sovereign country and blah, 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 that I saw on Twitter, which is definitely true. Like, I would say that to take a step back from everything, right? I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to go up to somebody and be like, hey, like, you're a shitty leader, fix your shit or we're gonna come after you because you're diametrically opposed to my set of values. I don't think this is like the worst thing in the world. In fact, I would go as far to say that, like, hey, if there's a leader, especially in your sphere of influence, that is opposed to your goals in the region, especially when, like, for example, I agree with the values that that country has, that we can't take actions against it.
No, you keep generalizing. We can take actions, and we should. And you should fight with people for, like, job promotions, and you should fight with people to outperform them, you know, to get top rankings in your classrooms in school or whatever. But that doesn't mean you can start killing people because you don't like them. Like, there are rules to this, and the reason why these rules exist is because we want them to be reciprocated. Because we want a world where we agree how we're supposed to fight each other. We don't want a world where it's like winner take all. The most powerful person is the one who wins, because this is just like a world of infinite 9/11s and shit. Where it's like, okay, well, I guess we're just like mass terrorists attacking everybody now because the United States thinks that they can just do whatever the fuck they want because they've got the power over us.
Like, I see what you're saying, but do you think that these people abide by our set of morals, our set of standards? Like, do you think just because we have or haven't done something that they will abide by those set of norms?
To some extent, absolutely, yes. Like, as crazy as, like, Venezuela or whatever is, I don't think Maduro would be, like, assassinating, like, random U.S. citizens. That's like a one-way trip to hell. And
well,
I
he probably doesn't have the capabilities.
He absolutely could. There are American citizens in Venezuela, of course. You could be killing these random people or imprisoning them indefinitely or torturing them in Canada. Of course he could.
India did it to Canada.
Well, we did it to Venezuelans. We're, like, capturing them and imprisoning them and torturing them.
No, I'm saying if Maduro wanted, there are American citizens in Venezuela right now that he could do that to, but they would never do this to
You're
U.S.
giving the example of, like, we're not doing this, they're not doing this, therefore they're bound by our set of standards.
Well, no,
like,
because
I think they're not doing this because of a real politique reason. They're like, hey, we're not going to torture random fucking American citizens because that's going to give Americans the casus belli to come in with fucking literally everything that they have and butt fuck us.
Exactly, but the real politique thing here is a bit more extrapolated than you realize, because you're saying that the real politique is actually following international set of norms, right? I'm not going to do this because if I do this, then I know what America will do this. Well, then, so we shouldn't do it because we're showing that we're willing to follow some, like, set of rules, right? As long as you don't do this, we're not going to do this. But if we start doing it, then the real politique math changes because now they're going to do it, right? If Americans start capturing and abducting fucking foreign leaders, then fuck, maybe we should engage in ABC, XYZ behavior.
So you think that the fact that America, like, I guess, stole Maduro, that, like, all these other countries around the world are going to be like, hey, this ambassador in this country, we could totally steal him for, like, political points?
Potentially, but the thing is, it's hard because Trump is doing so much extremely crazy radical shit. Like, I don't think this all changes overnight, but it definitely starts to build on those arguments. Yeah, for sure. When a country does a bad, and then another country wants to do a bad, and then the international community goes to that other country and say, why are you doing it bad? Of course that other country points to other people and go, well, look what they're doing. Fuck you, right? You want to build, this is why you have to be able to build, like, an international coalition and consensus around some things. But when your own behaviors betray the standards you're trying to enforce, then you have less moral authority internationally to do things, and people are less likely to follow you in on those things.
But what if we don't need international consensus?
But we